Hey guys, what's up? So you heard me right that my dropout degree made me 30,000 US dollars in 1 month. And let me take you to my screen and show you how I did it. So for anyone who is very skeptical about it, let me just first of all refresh the page so that you guys can have a look. That this is exactly a real store, and these are like the gross sales, 31,000 US dollars. Some days we hit around probably like 4,600 something approximately. And we have 444 orders on our store. Basically, now we are on my Me report, and here we are going to talk about how we can structure the ads so that we can, make that kind of a revenue in 1 month, which I have done. So this is my exact structure which I follow. This is my campaign, and with the campaigns, we know that we always have ad sets, and then we have ads on this on this structure. Okay, so the campaign, ad set, and the ads. So what we do is, so this is how we structure this. So the first campaign, the basically the first campaign, we call it test campaign. And on that test campaign, we have inside it, we call the ad set a broad pack one. What do I mean by that? The broad pack one is the structure where we will having a lot of ads inside it. Okay, so with broad pack one, we don't just have one ad. So this is we call, let's say, ad one. We don't have just ad one here. What we have is we have different ads here. Ad one, ad two, and then we have ad three. So we basically have different ads. Okay. Now, with different ads, so let's say you can have multiple of, like, not just like three ads, you can have four, and you can maybe have five ads. So this is basically the first campaign, the test campaign we have. Okay, so on the test campaign, what we have is we have test campaign, we call it test campaign, and then we have a broad pack, and on that broad pack we have multiple ads. So let's say three, four, five ads uh, just at the starting. Okay, and then what we do is we basically give it a budget of $50. $50 is going to be our budget, and we let it run for 3 to 5 days. Okay, so this is the test campaign, and on that test campaign, you let it run for probably like 3 to 5 days, and you'll see how the performance is going. Okay, I'll take you back to my one of my ad account, and let me show you like how we structure that. Okay, now we are on one of my ad account. So don't don't focus on the product right now. The product, it's not a weighing product which we are testing right now. This is basically a ad account which I'm not running at the moment. But this is our structure. So we have basically the product name, and we can call it prospecting campaign, we can call it test campaign, doesn't matter. And that's basically a CBO of $50. Okay, and inside that we have the broad pack one, just like exactly what I just uh, showed you guys here. Okay, so this broad pack one is basically having different kind of videos. So here you can see like different, like we have 5 videos which we have downloaded from Calodata. So on the previous video, I showed you guys how we find the product on Calodata and how we get the videos out of Calodata. So in the very beginning, what we do is we don't waste a lot of time creating the UGC content for the product, because that product is not yet proven. We don't know if that product is going to sell or not. So on the testing, we search the product on Calodata, we get the videos from Calodata, and we just run the ads with that, okay, in the very beginning, just to see how the performance is going on the specific product. Okay, so in this case, we have one campaign, which is a testing campaign, which we call on the testing campaign, we call it prospecting or a testing campaign. And then we on the ad set, we have brought back one. Okay, why we call it brought back one is very simple. Okay, I'll tell you that, but let's talk about like the ads. So we have different ads here. The reason we have different ads here is because we don't know which creative is going to perform well. Okay, nowadays with Facebook, this is the game of finding the good creative. If you can find a winning creative, and that creative is, performing really well, then eventually your product is going to do well. Okay, so make sure you have multiple creatives inside that testing campaign. That's very, very important. And coming back to my Miro board, let's talk about this. So once you test that product, that's test that campaign for maybe like 3 to 4 days, and you see the performance. What performance you want to look at is very simple. Let me talk about that. So in that data of 3 to 5 days of testing that product, you will be looking for these things. Okay, first is CPC, very, very important. If your CPC is really high, it's very hard for you to scale that product. So what do I mean by CPC low and the high? So let's say your CPC is $1.5. If it is $1.5 or below, all right, then it's it's a good metric. Okay, so that CPC is good. And then if we talk about CPM is also one of the biggest metric, which will tell you how much money you are paying to get those impressions. So CPM, if your CPM is below approximately, maybe like depends on the category of on which category you're selling the product, which niche you're selling the product. So if it's beauty category, the the right now the CPM is going to be higher. If you talk about like a very specific category or niche where you don't not a lot of people tap into, so let's say I would say gardening, then gardening maybe it can be the CPM can be lower. Some of the categories and niches are more competitive and more expensive on CPMs. Okay, so if you have a CPM maybe below $20, then it's a good metric. Okay, then after that we talk about CPMs, and then we talk about add to carts. Your add to carts needs to be there. It's very, very important. Okay, so add to carts are basically, if you're getting add to carts on on the campaign, that means people are interested in buying that product. So add to cart for me, it's approximately, maybe it depends on the product price as well. But usually, if let's say you're selling a product at $40, at a $40 product should have a cost per add to cart needs to be $10 to maybe like $15. $10 to $15. Okay, if you're getting $10 to $15 add to cart, that means people have some interest on your product. That's very, very important. All right, so the next point is, which is basically the another metric in order for you to understand whether the product is good or not, is CTR. All right, what we call it, CTR. CTR is click through rate, and click through rate needs to be above 1.5%. If it's above 1.5%, that means your creative, the ad which you're running, is a decent ad. It's a good ad. Okay. So 1.5% or above, that means your creative is good. Now, whenever you do this test, so you create a test campaign for the product, and then one brought back, and you have like five different creatives into it, and then after 2 3 days, 3 4 days, you look for these things. Okay, these are the metrics. CPC needs to be 1.5 or below. It's a good metric. Then CPM is going to be below $20. If it's higher than that, it's going to cost you more money to advertise on Facebook or on any platform. Okay, and then add to carts. The product needs to have some add to carts so that you can understand that people have interest on buying the product, so they have buying intent on that product. So if it's $10, $15, below between like $10, $15, that's a good sign for any product which is around $40, $50. If a product costs, let's say, $100, so your add to cart can be around $20, $25. Okay, that's also a good metric. Then a click-through rate, the CTR, it's going to determine whether your creative is good or not. Okay, so it needs to be above 1.5%. If it's above 1.5%, that means you have done a good job on the creative. Okay, so after a few days of test, spending money, you'll get data, and let's assume, like from all these five videos, video number one, the ad number one is your best creative. Okay, so let's say this is the best creative. Now, if this is going to be your best creative, what you're going to do is you're going to make another campaign, which is going to be this one, and we call this campaign a Advantage Plus campaign. This is going to be Advantage Plus, and slash we can call it Scale campaign. Okay, so this is going to be Advantage Plus, and why you create this Advantage Plus campaign is because whatever the creative you have here, which is a winning creative after a test of few days, and you see they are following these metrics, then what you're going to do is you're going to create an Advantage Plus campaign, which is we can call it Scale campaign as well. Now, when you create a Advantage Plus campaign, now what you need to do is you again create like a campaign, and then you create a ad set. You can call it best creative ad set. Okay, then you can basically move that particular video or the creative, which is a winning creative to you, and you can move it here. So in our case, the ad number one was a winning creative. All right. So now the structure is going to be like this. You have a test campaign with brought back one, and you run it for a few days, like 3 4 5 days, and you see which one is following these metrics. If, let's say, ad number one follow the metric, then what you're going to do is you're going to create a new campaign. You can't stop this one. You'll let it run for more days to see how the performance goes, and you create a new campaign, which is Advantage Plus or Scale campaign. And then once you create Advantage Plus, then you create a new ad set into it, and you just move this particular video or the creative. You just move this creative from here all the way to here. Okay, this is the structure. So you move this here on a new campaign, which is Advantage Plus, and then you give this campaign also a budget of $50. All right. Then once you have this, now once you create the Advantage Plus campaign, this is the campaign which you're going to scale. Okay. Just a quick rundown here. You create a test campaign, then a brought back one, and then you create like five different creatives, and you just download it from Calorita and you just test it out. But you should be using like five different creatives in that campaign so that you have good chances of getting that winning creative. So once you have that, and then you run it for 3, 4, 5 days, maybe like 5 days max, and you see which ad is performing the best. And let's say ad number one performs the best. Then you create, after 4, 5 days, you create another campaign, which is Advantage Plus campaign. That's going to be your scale campaign. And you create an ad set, you put that winning creative inside that campaign, and you give it a budget of $50. Okay. And then how you scale it is very simple. So let's say you create this campaign, and by the way, you don't stop this campaign, you let it run because there is an ad which is performing good into it. So you let this campaign run and you create another campaign, Advantage Plus or Scale campaign. And then how you scale that Advantage Plus campaign is very simple. You just see that performance for let's say 2, 3 days with $50 budget. And if you see the performance is good, the ROAS is up to the mark, your whatever the ROAS you need, you're getting that ROAS, or maybe it's break even, then you scale that up just by sub scaling it. So you give it $100 budget and you let it run for next one more day and you see how it goes. Okay. Then from, let's say, you run it for you know after 3, 4 days, you run it for $100. And then once you see that it's working good with $100, then you just increase the budget from 100 to $200, you know and then from 200 to maybe you give it like 350, and that's how you scale it. Okay. So this is basically serve scale. So you see the performance is looking good, the ROAS is under your KPI, and you see it's profitable or break even, and then you scale it up. Once you scale it up with serve scale, facebook is especially Facebook is going to give you more and more chances of getting the performance better. Okay. It's a platform where you spend money. If you spend money, it's some days it's going to be bad, but some days it's are going to be really, really good. Okay. So overall, whenever you check your ad account, so let's go back to the ad account. Whenever you check the ads, you don't only look for the ads just for, let's say, today's performance or yesterday's performance. You don't look at the yesterday's performance, whatever the ad is saying. You have to look for performance at least for 4, 5 days. Okay. So you have to give that window to see whether what is exactly the ads are saying, what is exactly the performance is saying, the data is saying. Okay. So maybe like 4, 5 days, I usually do like 7 days. If I see uh, if I want to take any decision, if I want to change anything on the campaign, on the ad account, I I look for a period of like 7 days. So it gives me more room to understand whether it some days are going to be really bad also. So you can't judge ads, especially media buying, just by 1 or 2 days performance. You have to look for at least like 6 to 7 days. Okay, that's what I do. Usually like 4, 5 days. Okay. So you take that decision that way, and that's how you scale it. Okay. Then after that, after apart from this structure, which we have here, we definitely have other things also, which I'm going to talk about like on the other video, maybe some other time. So after that, we have like the retargeting campaign. Retargeting campaign is also really, really important. And then we have retention campaign. Okay. So we structured it that way that we have four different campaigns. But today I know like this video is going to be too long, so I'm not going to touch that right now, and just focus on these two campaigns in the very beginning when you're testing the products. Once you find a winning product, you serve scale that product with advantage plus campaign, and that's how you do like 30,000 US dollars in a month. Okay, so till then, I hope you like the video, and if you like the video, please subscribe it, and yeah, thanks a lot. Bye bye.